Follow all the people follow all the following people to bury the hatches to put aside the pettiness. Make life harder for bad actors. Follow all these people and stop bitching about small stuff. The nucleus is going to come under attack. There are a lot of courageous people out there. Help them spread the risk. Core is not so vulnerable. Wait, no, not this. I'm not talking about this. Many more to come. Thumbs too tired. These guys are so pathetic, bro. What is this? This person, official McAfee, who reached out to me, obsessed about not being suicidal like Jeffrey Epstein, is categorically the same as the person described hours before his death by his wife here. Dude. Oh, God. We're going to talk about McAfee in a little bit. I don't know, Nassim, because you stood for me over a decade, no matter how disappointed you are. Maybe no, is it? Correlation implies causation. We are grown men and women wasting our lives arguing over whether we hate each other. Stop. Find Lago. Dude, this guy is having like a breakdown. Many are having this reaction to Dave or to Sam or Mike or Joe. You're angry that I haven't said Anakachian or K. Melly when I said clearly more to come. Enough. No one goes under the bus. Get pissed at me. Fine. I have a 24/7 hater ecosystem, but no one else on the list. I love Rubin Report, despite the growing apart politically. So just unfollow me if you'd like. Dude, this guy's oppression is literally fucking Twitter follows and unfollows, dude. I mean, what the fuck is Emo Andy doing over here? Go ahead. Unfollow me. Anyway. Read Nassim Talib's response. It was hilarious. What did he say? Why the fuck are you putting me in the same category as Ben Shapiro, who is a total charlatan? Oh. I'm scared, and I need friends who can fight. I don't know, Nassim, because you've stood by me for over a decade, no matter how disappointed you may have been in me at times, and I've told everyone how much I admire you. I thought maybe I'd point to you in your wisdom to lead. And I'm scared, and I need friends who can fight. Maybe I'm trying to lead until someone with more courage and executive functioning and charisma becomes available. Maybe the private Ben is not the public one, and he has courage and decency. Wait, wouldn't that imply that he is a fucking little shitter? At best, a dangerous propagandist. At worst, a coward who can't reveal his true feelings? If it's different. What is he leading, bro? What is Eric Weinstein leading still? God, dude, Joe Rogan, the Joe Rogan ecosystem is so fragile. Like, the moment that they can't go back on Joe Rogan is the moment that, like, their entire economy falls apart. So they have to claw on to relevancy in whatever way they can. Maybe I worry McAfee just got whacked and was obsessed with making his killing matter. What? And was obsessed with making his killing matter? Maybe he just let us know that it is easier to say correlation doesn't imply causation. Okay. I don't want to give it away. I wanted to make it seem like there was mystery behind like John McAfee dying. But I have to point this out, like, John McAfee wishes he was murdered by the government, okay? Sorry. Like, love the guy, okay? I followed him, and I have celebrated his psychotic behavior for many years. You know this. Some people thought it was a good own to, like, point to my tweet about him whale fucking. He's batshit crazy, okay? And I love it. I think it's very entertaining. I think we should let people be batshit fucking crazy. But this notion that he was whacked, like similar to Jeffrey Epstein, he wishes that was the case, okay? You're wild. I would have an easier time believing that he killed himself while simultaneously making it seem like, he was going to get murdered by the government, just as like one last big troll, okay? $100%. No fucking shot And I said just as much like a couple days ago when the situation first came to light, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? The situation surrounding John McAfee's death is shrouded in mystery." Like, what? You think he fucking killed himself because he was doing tax evasion? He was about to be extradited to the United States of America, dude. Like, oh wow, dude, for fucking tax evasion. That's why that was the big fucking mystery. Come on, boys. Wild to think that like you deeply do not understand John McAfee if you think he was like if you think that he was murdered. Okay? You don't. Have you seen the Jenna Friedman interview with McAfee? It's hilarious. No. I would have an easier time believing that he faked his own death so that he could like evade the authorities rather than get fucking murdered. Okay, we'll watch that interview. Like what was the big secret that like they wanted to silence him on, dude? What was the big like government secret that he had access to? Was this some crypto shit? Probably, right? Is the cryptocurrency stuff? Is that what it was? My man is literally known for making an antivirus that's like impossible to delete from your computer. Okay, that's it. He got a bag, and then he lived his best libertarian life. I love him for that reason. He is like an honest libertarian. Okay. He loved getting shit on, literally. I don't mean literally in like the Zoomer sense. I mean like quite literally. He loved getting poop in his mouth. And if he were still around today, he'd say he loves the top of the hour, every hour, 60-second ad breaks. Yeah. He loved unavoidable ads. But you might not be able to delete Norton antivirus, but you can avoid the ad breaks at the top of the hour. Now, how can you do that, Hasan? Well, you can do that by subscribing for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Is it Norton antivirus? McAfee antivirus. Sorry. Fuck, I said Norton. Oh, damn. The disrespect. Yeah, you can by using a VPN or by using an ad blocker or by just subscribing for free with a Twitch Prime. You can avoid the ad breaks way better than you can avoid the McAfee antivirus software. Here's the ad now.
He's one of the most notorious cybersecurity entrepreneurs in the world, who made millions off of his antivirus software. In 2012, amid allegations of murder, he fled his then home of Belize to Guatemala, where he faked a heart attack to avoid deportation. He eventually made his way back into the U.S. and rose to prominence once again as a 2016 Libertarian presidential candidate. To this day, he remains a controversial figure, and he's here with me now.
John McAfee?
McAfee, but it doesn't matter.
For people watching at home in their mother's basements, they don't necessarily see that you have, can I reveal that you have security guards?
Of course, absolutely.
So you have
Everybody knows it.
1, 2, 3 gentlemen.
Actually, 4 if Jimmy's here.
Do you fear death,
No, not at all.
despite the military presence around you?
That doesn't mean I fear it. That simply means I choose not to voluntarily wander into it.
Let's talk about McAfee 2.0.
What's that?
You now.
I would call it 400.0 or something. I mean, I have reinvented myself, but you call it too, that's fine. That would be the newsman's perspective.
News person.
Newsperson. What does that mean?
Women also work in the news, so newsman is kind of
I know,
reductive.
but listen, you need to cut me just a little slack because number one, I am 72.
You don't look it. You look like you're in your mid-40s.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, gosh, in that case, well, I'm going to call it news lady.
Well, that's also condescending.
But news person, you're right. You know why? It's an extra syllable.
Too much effort to make 52% of the population see themselves in an aspirational way.
Please, I apologize. You're putting me down tremendously well, and I admire your intelligence and drive.
You recently announced that you were
That's
running for
so
president in 2020. Why?
I ran in 2016. I didn't succeed to the level that I desired.
For those who don't know, what is a libertarian other than
For the record, like, this is the real life Tony Stark. The real life Tony Stark is not fucking Elon Musk. The reason why I love this man, or loved this man, is because this is what libertarians are like in the wild. Okay? This is a libertarian who stayed true to his degenerate opinions and stayed true to his beliefs. Okay?
white guy too cheap to pay for birth control.
A libertarian. You are a free individual, free to do and think and believe as you choose.
In 2016, you lost to Gary Johnson.
Yes.
How did that feel to lose the unpopular vote?
It didn't feel like anything. I had a good 9 months of national attention because really, that's all that matters to me.
Did you think Trump was going to be president?
Yes, I hoped he was actually because the alternative was not very palatable to me.
Did you think
I will not tell you why because it will implicate me in horrific
Sounds like you're
situations.
asking me to inquire, but I'm not
I
going
am.
to.
I am actually because I'm not sure I'm going to say it or not.
Well, it
Do you
sounds like
understand?
you're egging me on to ask
I
you.
am.
I want to respect your privacy.
I am actually because I'm not sure I will say it. I've never said it ever.
Well, if you
Not
want
in,
me
not
to.
in 6 years since I left police have I ever stated why.
Do you want to?
Absolutely.
Okay, well then you're welcome.
Okay, so when I went on the run in police,
This is so good. She's doing a bit. He's not. Okay? He is like this. Like, this is how he is, dude. It's great. Please inquire about what I cannot say, the unspeakable truths that I'm literally dying to say. This man is fucking insane. Oh, dude, no. Some would have you believe he was the most sane, dude.
I had friends in the U.S. Embassy and police. I knew what was coming down. I'm not stupid. I had arranged with the head of security. I was going to come in. He said, "Sir, we have it from the highest authority. We are not to allow you entry into the U.S. Embassy." Understand me. Who was the highest authority of the State Department? Hillary Clinton. I'm an American citizen with a American passport. I'm sorry. I'm not wanted in America. I've got no crimes in America. Is it not a reason to say, I don't think I'm going to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason
Wow, dude. It's crazy.
that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
We don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not.
Okay, first of all, this is the beauty of John McAfee. Okay, first of all, most sane libertarian. Okay, most sane libertarian. Now, what I find incredible about what he's saying is that, like, first of all, I do literally believe that the American cybersecurity protocols are so devastatingly poor that I unironically do believe that someone could literally do this, like what he's talking about. Okay, like a fishing expedition with just donated computers. Like, that would not surprise me in the least bit. He's talking about the Belize government. Oh, never mind. Oh, then I totally do. I totally see whether that happened or not. I misunderstood. I think it could definitely happen in the American government as well. But having said that, I don't understand. Is he saying that, like, that the Department of Immigration in Belize is the largest human trafficker? Is that what he's saying? Or he's saying that America, he found out from the Belize government that
over a bogus charge. I was pissed.
You're here now.
Is it not a reason to say, I don't think
why would like the government of Belize have this information? No, he's saying it was America.
I'm going to vote for you?
And yet you're here now.
For a month and a half, I was on the run. The reason that the government wanted to collect me was that after they had raided my property in 2012 in the jungle, shot my dog, abused me, destroyed $500,000 worth of my property over a bogus charge, I was pissed off. And so I donated to many secretaries within the government laptop computers, really nice ones, that were preloaded with viral spyware. Within a week, the entire government computer system was under my control. I was watching, monitoring, listening. I was looking for information that they had set me up for that raid. I didn't find that. I did find out that the Minister of National Defense was the largest drug trafficker in all of Central America. And the Minister of Immigration, the largest human trafficker.
We don't want to get killed by them either, so we're probably not going to.
That's fine. That's fine.
It was getting a little hot in John McAfee's compound, so we decided to step outside.
Cheers.
To you.
To you. Let's get into Bitcoin.
Okay.
Explain Bitcoin to me in terms you would use if it were real.
It is real.
You tweeted that if the price of Bitcoin doesn't go to $1 million by 2020,
I will eat my member. Yes.
you will eat your own.
Eat my dick. No, I may choose the mode. If I choose to get a Bangkok prostitute and ask her, would you please eat my dick over the next 5 years, that's fine.
That's different than eating your own.
Is it now?
Because if a Bangkok prostitute ate your, you wouldn't be eating your own.
Do I not have the privilege of subordinating my task to a subordinate?
To someone who doesn't know a lot about Bitcoin.
Dude, I love libertarians. Oh, come on, dude. I'm giving a subordinate the privilege. Like, yeah, when I said I'll eat my own dick, what I actually meant was I'll have my dick sucked by a prostitute from Bangkok.
Bitcoin.
Yes.
It sounds like you, John McAfee, want to eat your own.
Eating my dick is not something that is difficult. For me eating it, I have no interest in doing that.
So it isn't that you, John McAfee, want to eat your own dick. It's that you believe in the power of Bitcoin, so much so that you'll put your dick on the table, chop it up, put it in your mouth, swallow. If Bitcoin does not.
If it doesn't reach at least $1 million by the end of 2020.
What if, God forbid, you get prostate cancer, have to remove your dick anyway?
Well, I won't be able to eat it, will I?
Well, you can have the surgeon put it aside and then you can eat it, but either
I
way.
don't think people would expect me to eat a 2-year-old dead dick. I'm sorry.
If John McAfee is to eat it, it's going to be the freshest dick.
And
right
eat it
away.
raw like I eat sushi.
Farm to table, to mouth.
Farm to table, to mouth.
If you could murder someone else, who would it be?
Wait, I wonder. Yeah, he killed himself to get out of the dick eating. There you go, boys. We solved the mystery.
Why?
It would be the entire leadership of the Sinaloa cartel.
Off the record, did you kill your neighbor in Belize?
I did not.
Why don't we take a bathroom break? Keep your mic on. Feel free to.
Like the HBO fucking miniseries.
Keep your mic on so that we can hear you while you're in the bathroom talking to your wife about murdering everybody, including all the people here on the set, right? No. That was funny. I'm sorry. That was a joke.
It's so funny if you
And
didn't
I
all
have done
have
this
guns.
so many times. Do you think that I would forget that I am wired and mic'd and I'm going to say something while I'm in the bathroom? Please, God. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
Let's say I'm a female voter. I'm fed up with both the Democrats and the Republicans.
That was.
I don't.
That's like, haha, it's funny. Except he did literally murder his neighbor. So. And also, she is under threat now.
No, you're wanted for murder in Belize. How do you win my vote?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, I fled Belize because they were wanting to collect me for a person of interest. That's all.
A person of interest.
But I'm not a politician, and I don't have to be one. I'm just a human being running for president.
What are your thoughts on the Me Too movement?
The Me Too movement.
Do you
Actually, this chatter is correct. He did not murder his neighbor. He let a subordinate handle it. That is true.
believe that alleged victims of assault should be believed?
I gotta
Tell
pee
you
so
about
bad. Okay, I'll be
assault.
back in a second.
I have been assaulted more than any man on this planet that's still alive. Do I complain? No.
So that's a no? You share many qualities with President Trump. You're both iconic American brands. You both have been accused of sexual assault. And you both have been rumored to engage in sex play with bodily waste. Why should Americans vote for you?
Well, obviously, forcibly forcing myself on someone, that would be an issue. But that's absolutely untrue. As to the rest, what I do sexually, please God, is that not my business?
Your body, your choice.
It's my body, my choice.
Why do you keep touching your gun?
No, I'm sorry, I always do that. Does that concern you?
Yeah.
Why?
No, please.
No, I'm sorry, because my hand goes there.
Everything okay? You guys are cool?
If these
right.
guys are not cool, we're all in trouble.
Okay. Okay, hypothetically, please don't shoot. What would the hand signal be if you were in trouble?
It would be like,
No.
it's okay.
Okay.
All right, so, no, if we're in trouble, I'm part of them.
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
not letting these bastards take all the heat.
All right.
Why? I'm one additional
Do
gun.
you think, now please don't pull out your firearm
I
again
will.
without telling
Yes,
me.
ma'am, I'm sorry.
Do you
Wait,
think
what did
that
he
you
do?
should have a firearm on you and while you're drinking?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Women get shit on a lot in our culture. You know what that's like.
I do.
I think you.
Wait, he pulled out his gun?
My business?
Your body, your choice.
It's my body, my choice.
Why do you keep touching your gun?
No, I'm sorry, I always do that. Does that concern you?
Yeah.
Why?
No, please.
No, I'm sorry, because my hand goes there.
Everything okay? You guys are cool?
If these
right.
guys are not cool, we're all in trouble.
Okay. Okay, hypothetically, please don't shoot. What would the hand signal be if you were in trouble?
It would be like,
No.
it's okay.
Okay.
All right, so, no, if we're in trouble, I'm part of them.
Okay.
Oh my god, he can't even fucking reholster it, dude! What the fuck?
I'm
Okay.
not letting these
Bro, he's literally too drunk to reholster it. Oh fucking Christ, dude. Yo, sanest libertarian once again, boys.
bastards take all the heat.
All right.
Why? I'm one additional
Do
gun.
you think, now please don't pull out your firearm
I
again
will.
without telling
Yes, ma'am,
me.
I'm sorry.
Do you think that you should have a firearm on you and while you're drinking?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Women get shit on a lot in our culture. You know what that's like.
I do.
I think you would make a better president than Donald Trump.
John McAfee is a Washington outsider who's tired of politics as usual. A tech entrepreneur, alleged murderer, and businessman who might not grab you by the pussy. If you're a woman thinking about voting for Donald Trump in 2020, think again.
Women get shit on a lot in our culture, and I know what that tastes like.
John,
Yes.
that was beautiful.
Yes.
I'd like it again a little softer, and I'd also like you to mention that you're pro-choice.
Right. This is actually going way better than I thought. I don't think these people are trying to f us. I don't. I think that they're truly going to do one of the greatest documentaries. Let me warm it.
Jenna Friedman said, I didn't really know him and don't want to say much considering allegations against him, but in my experience, he was funny and charismatic and the people in his life seem happy to be there. I hope he's at peace now or at least eating shit on some island off the grid. R.I.P. Hashtag McAfee. I mean, he's crazy. He is a truly fascinating person. A dying breed. Definitely. You know, like old school, like Archer kind of points to this a little bit. Like old school, like in the 60s, 70s, there was a type of guy who like went and fucking operated a brothel in Bangkok or Thailand or whatever. Like this is that kind of libertarian. And quite literally a dying breed. Too weird to live, too rare to die. He's gonna come back in 20 years with an alien baby.
This up. And this is Turner Broadcasting. I mean, this is huge. Hundreds of millions of viewers. Now, this isn't big shit here.
He's literally a pedo. Dude, we already know he's a libertarian. Like, you don't need to repeat it. Okay? What a redundancy. Like, I'm so confused by why you are adamant about repeating this redundancy for some reason. I mean, he is a right libertarian, bro. That's it. So there is a 4-part documentary on the life of John McAfee that is pretty good from what I understand. And I want to watch it. Now, I've watched many documentaries on John McAfee, so I already know that I don't even know if I can watch this. Now, the reason why I say this is because much like American imperialism and American imperialist history, everything that John McAfee has done is a violation of the terms of service on Twitch. Everything. Like, from hiring prostitutes to take fat shits in his mouth on a hammock, to murdering his neighbor, to just pretty much everything he did all the time. They are all violations of Twitch's terms of service. So I am a little worried about watching this, but I will. I will watch it regardless because I am brave. The last thing he posted was a Q, and he held metadata leading to vaccine 5G research. Yeah, his dead man switch or whatever the fuck was an Instagram post with Q and a bunch of like weird shit, I think, that they uncovered on 4chan, maybe? Wait, Jenna talked to him while he was in prison? No way.
Election day is coming up, and I hope you are all planning on voting. I know a lot of nerds are probably already telling you to vote, and when I do it, I just sound like your mom telling you to make sure that you wash your hands after you go poo-poo. But that's because she was right, and none of us listened to her. And now we're all trapped in our homes, making low-budget web shows as we wait out a global pandemic. So just listen to Mom and or me, who's probably the same age as her, and vote, please. I'm not gonna tell you who to vote for.
Boring.
Potato might.
We both eat poop, McAfee 2020.
This next guest is in his 70s and thinks COVID is a hoax, so I'm really glad we got him on the show before it was too late. Cautionary tale and man responsible for fucking up your mom's desktop, John McAfee. For those people who don't know you, which I assume is most people, what would you say is the secret to your success?
Success is being able to talk to people and not give a flying fuck what they think.
Are you pro-life besides the 2 men you killed?
No, I'm not pro-life. Absolutely not.
Do you have any advice for aspiring politicians who've also been accused of sexual assault?
Okay, this is over. I'm sorry.
What do you want to talk about, John?
Well, the most insightful thing, I think, is knitting. Can we talk about that first? I mean, I've taken more drugs than God. And grandmothers knit. Look at their lives. Can't walk anymore. Their knees are bad. They haven't had a dick in 25 fucking years. I mean, and yet.
Whose fault is that, John?
I'll fuck any grandmother that comes by.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how old are the women you fuck?
On a scale of 1 to 10, how
Oh my god. Bro, she's so funny. What the fuck?
old? I'm sorry, it's a bad scale. Repeat the question, Jenna.
What are your thoughts on the death penalty when someone hasn't killed your dog?
Oh, dude, this is very good. Like, this is very, very good. She's
The
fucking
death
hilarious.
penalty is a government mandated issue. And whatever that person is killed or done, I think there should be a death penalty, for example, for wearing masks. Because what signal are you sending to our children? That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But yes, if I would put that as number one, wear a mask, socially distance yourself. Yes, there should be a death penalty for that.
There's currently a death penalty for not wearing your mask. It's only on other people.
Oh, I see. Well, you really are funny. It's just that you don't come across that way.
Stay safe, John McAfee. Please
Okay.
wear a mask. I care about your health. Potato, why do you like McAfee? Just because you can sit at a bar and eat a piece of shit with him doesn't mean he's a good leader. Why does everyone have to be friends with their president?
Notice how different his demeanor is now? I mean, is it? Because, like, he's been deranged for a long ass time. Get her on the show. Who is she? Jenna what? Jenna Friedman. She's pretty funny. I have never heard of her. All right, let's start.
Okay. Ay.
This is John McAfee, and he's lived one hell of a life. He's the creator of the McAfee antivirus software, but that's the least interesting thing about him. That's because in 2012, his Central American jungle compound was raided by Belize's gang suppression unit because they thought he was cooking up meth. Then 6 months later, he became an international fugitive after his neighbor was found dead and he was named as the lead suspect. Following a media shitstorm, he was arrested by Interpol in Guatemala for illegally entering the country.
Where are they taking you, John?
To jail.
With some quick thinking, he managed to escape being deported back to Belize by faking a heart attack. This gave his lawyer enough time to file an appeal so he can return to the United States instead. Now, if that sounds crazy, and it does, get this.
Bro, come on. Like, he's just... I mean, he's a monster as an individual, okay? But, like, also... I mean, he's just fucking... He's a deranged psycho who is... Like, how are you not going to watch what he does next? You know what I mean?
A couple of years later, he ran for president.
All right, so is it official? Are you running for president? Have you filed the papers to run for president?
I filed the papers on Tuesday. I'm officially running, yes, ma'am.
People say libertarians are isolationists.
That intro barely scratches the surface of the absolute insanity that has been John McAfee's life. Okay, let me give you the who, what, where, when, and why in as little words as possible. So he was born in England on September 18th, 1945. A little while later, his family moved to Roanoke, Virginia. He did a degree in mathematics at Roanoke College. Then he started working for a string of tech companies and government agencies. NASA, Xerox, Booz Allen Hamilton, to name a few. He's constantly losing jobs during this time because of drugs and booze. For example, he was selling coke and snorting it while at Omex. He adds that he lost his job at Missouri Pacific Railroad after showing up to work after doing a whole bag of DMT. Oh yeah, there's this great clip of him talking about how he got his job at Lockheed Martin. I'm gonna play it for you.
That they gave you security clearance, I guess, because you had nothing to hide.
Right, because I'd had a very checkered past prior to joining Lockheed Martin. I assumed that there would be no chance in hell I would ever get security clearance. They asked me very, revealing questions. Had I ever had sex with sheep or dogs? I mean, incredible things. Had I ever taken drugs? The answer was yes. What kind? Almost every kind. How much? A lot. Have you ever sold drugs? Yes. So I assumed I'd never get the clearance, but I did, and it came in very quickly.
During the mid-1980s, he read about the first known PC virus.
I don't. How did he actually work at Lockheed Martin? I mean, I guess you could, because to work as a defense contractor for the American government, he's not wrong. Like, they ask you insane questions, but I fucking doubt that he was able to get security clearance. Like, that's crazy. I guess they don't give a fuck when you're literally, actually, unironically a genius. He's still white though? No, you guys are crazy, dude. They only care if you lie? No, part of the reason why they care about the security clearance is because they want you to make sure they want to make sure that you're not compromised, okay? Or that you could be compromised. And I guess the reason why they were like, yeah, we don't give a fuck is because he admits to it. So he doesn't even need to. He will never be compromised if he openly admits it. You know what I mean? Yeah, this chatter is correct. You get security clearance if you don't lie and can't be exploited. And I guess he can't be exploited because he's just like, yeah, fuck yeah, I sold drugs and I fucked the sheep or whatever the fuck. But also, most importantly, someone with that level, someone with that kind of a background is not getting a security clearance unless they are legitimately unique. They are going to bring a tremendous amount of value by working there.
Virus called the Pakistani Brain. Then he hired a few programmers and they put together an antivirus software for him. He called it Virus Scan. At the time, he was running an online BBS called Homebase, and he gave Virus Scan away for free to Homebase users. For free, you say? How did he make money? Well, he's a crafty dude, so he added fine print stipulating that corporations had to pay for a licensing fee. He had a hunch that people would install his software onto their computers at work, and he was right. Soon he was getting more checks from companies than he had time to cash out. His next step was to establish McAfee Associates. To market his business, he appeared on news programs talking about the dangers viruses pose to the financial stake of the nation's largest companies. Lots of doomsday stuff. His big break came in 1991, and it was thanks to the Michelangelo virus.
When you're looking for a biological virus, you use a microscope or some other laboratory device to try and identify the virus. But when you're looking for a computer...
Didn't he literally make some viruses as well? I mean...
virus, it's even more difficult because you can't see it at all.
Computer users won't be joining in all the celebrations for Michelangelo's birthday this Friday because on that day, a new and deadly virus is scheduled to strike computers around the world.
So how does the virus infect your computer? Well, it hitches a ride on a floppy disk. What you're about to see is Michelangelo destroying 80 megabytes of data, 80 million bits of information. This American student, Robert Morris, is one of the few virus authors who've been caught and convicted.
Typically, these are antisocial people with a severe emotional problem, and they're creating...
I mean, hey, he ain't wrong about that.
Are getting more difficult to detect and more destructive all the time.
So what's going to happen tomorrow? Nobody knows.
Well, what do you do if you think this might happen to your computer?
The Michelangelo virus was discovered in Australia. It was a boot sector virus that operated at the BIOS level of DOS
Oh
system.
my God, this dude is the most Canadian dude I have ever seen, dude. My man literally said a boot. Like he's, wow, that is the most Canadian person on the planet. Wait, oh, he said the boot sector? Did I misunderstand what he was saying?
The virus was discovered in Australia. It was a boot sector virus that operated.
Oh my God, I gotta take a break from streaming. I swear to God, my processes is not functioning anymore. My brain literally has stopped functioning in this past week. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I cannot fucking hear things. No, I will not apologize to Canada. A boot is something that Canadians say, but he said a boot sector virus. It's over. It's over for me. I think my brain no longer works.
At the BIOS level of DOS systems. It was designed to lay dormant until it would strike on the 6th of March, on the same day as the famous artist's birthday. McAfee prophesied that the virus could destroy as many as 5 million computers around the world. But once March 6th arrived, only 10 to 20,000 computers were reported as infected. As a result, McAfee was taken to task by the press and by his colleagues. Although he cried wolf, it paid off. 6 months later, his revenues increased tenfold, and he controlled 67% of the antivirus market. However, the investors wanted him out. The thing is, the guy was a great marketer, but dog shit as a CEO. At McAfee Associates, sex contests, sword fights, and Wiccan ceremonies were the norm, and the company's spirit was a reflection of John's. Anyway, by 1992, the investors wanted to take the company to the next level, so they replaced him as CEO. Later, he cashed out for $100 million. By the way, if he just waited, he could have made quadruple that. That's because McAfee Associates eventually sold for $7 billion. Other than creating a before-its-time chat program called Powwow, the rest of the 90s were a relatively quiet period for John McAfee. Okay, so, by the 2000s, his life starts to get progressively more weird. All of a sudden, he decided to become a yoga guru. He opened a yoga and meditation retreat in his 10,000 square foot, $25 million Colorado's Rocky Mansion. There he housed 200 loyal disciples completely for free.
There's a really good documentary that covers all of this stuff that we just saw extensively, by the way. Like all of this. It is really, even this part that he's like breezing through are very interesting.
And based off what I've read about it, the whole thing screams cult-like to me.
Need. And jealousy is all about the fear of losing all of these pleasant things which you have obtained.
He wrote 4 books during this time, although he later denounced all of them as trash. By 2003, he became bored of the life of a spirituality guru, so he decided to invent a sport.
Are these your very favorite toys?
I would say so.
In McAfee's case, that meant millions he spent promoting the sport of aerotrekking, tiny motorized kites that enthusiasts fly to explore the remotest corners of the country. For them, McAfee built this playground in the desert.
Within 4 years, he spent more than $11 million building a massive aerotrekking wonderland. There he built 4 airplane hangars, 2 airstrips, a 5-bedroom villa, a cafe, internet lounge, greenhouse, and an organic goods store. Additionally, the village was home to his collection of vintage cars worth an estimated $400,000. On top of all of that, he built a network of 8 airports connecting remote areas of New Mexico to Arizona. He also established a flight school, which was at the center of a wrongful death lawsuit that caused the whole thing to come crashing down. This happened after his 22-year-old nephew, Joel Gordon Patow, flew into a canyon wall with a 61-year-old student named Robert Gilson. Gilson's family later sued McAfee for $5 million in a wrongful death lawsuit. They argued that McAfee was liable because he made Patow an instructor, even though he didn't have a pilot's license and only had about 65 hours of flight training.
Okay, listen. This is literally at the heart of libertarianism. Like, he literally thinks like these sorts of regulatory burdens are just over encroachments from the nanny state, okay? This is what I mean when I say, here is a man who lived by libertarian principles all the fucking way. This is your brain on libertarianism.
Training. After another lawsuit from a man who tripped on his property, McAfee devised a plan to escape from his legal troubles. So in 2008, he announced to the media that he was broke.
John McAfee, like many people in the country, got hooked on flipping properties for profit. With a fortune reported to be in excess of $100 million, he got sucked into the greatest real estate bubble the United States has ever seen.
I bought some properties in Utah and,
brilliant, by the way.
Doubled and tripled my money in a matter of months. And I go, well, sure, you can make money at this.
His passion for real estate became all-consuming as McAfee amassed a trove of high-end properties across the U.S.
You were doing what everybody else was doing, only on a larger dollar scale.
Yes, spent an enormous amount of money building things which really had no utility other than possibly as art. So it's house as art, which in a booming economy you might actually be able to sell and make some money. But in a recession,
he sold everything he owned on his massive aero trekking complex in a series of highly publicized, single-day absolute auctions. Then he announced that he was moving to Belize. This was all for show. As Joshua Davis puts it, he figured that if he were out of the country, he'd be less of a target. And he knew that, should he lose a case, it would be harder to collect money if he lived overseas. So that's it for part 1. Join me for part 2 when that comes out, and potentially for part 3 and...
Okay, so to the people who are saying like, well, I like John McAfee except for the murder. One does not simply like John McAfee without the murder. You can't. It's an integral part of his personality, okay? This is it. Like, it's literally the whole, like, his entire identity revolves around doing shit like this, okay?
デジタルパワーが生み出すネットワーク一等賢い沖のビジネス法
Last video, we left off with McAfee's decision to move to Belize. Like I said in that video, it was most likely in order to escape his legal troubles. Before arriving in Belize, he bought a beachfront property on Ambergris Key. After a couple of years, he had already established a number of businesses in the country. But his most ambitious project was called Quorum X. Quorum X began after he met a 31-year-old ethno...
So this is the shady shit. Didn't he sexually assault her, right? Wasn't that
botanist named Alison Adonisio. They
struck up a conversation. Am I misremembering?
And she told him about her doctorate research into anti-quorum sensing. Quorum sensing is a process used by infectious bacteria to communicate through pheromone signals in order to synchronize a pathogenic attack. However, with plants that possess anti-quorum sensing compounds, it's possible to block communication between bacteria, thus preventing an infection. Plants with anti-quorum sensing compounds could likely be found spread along the shores of the New River, and were said to have been used by Belizean medicine men for generations. McAfee was sold. He offered to bankroll her research with the intention of eventually using her findings to develop a commercial product. She happily accepted. Prior to this, in February of 2010, he purchased 100 acres of marshland about 10 miles upriver from Lamanai. Over the next several months, he spent millions filling in the land and building several thatched roof bungalows. This is where he set up Quorum X's lab. He also built a main house for himself and invited Adonisio to stay in it.
Bro, people, see this in video games. Like, he unironically lived life like a fucking video game character, dude. I mean, this is like straight up fucking Far Cry villain shit.
McAfee, a man who always travels with an entourage, also brought along his posse, which included his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer Irwin. But soon, Quorum X went south. Something changed in McAfee's personality once he settled in Belize's jungle. Prior to that, he presented himself as a clean-cut, freewheeling adventurer. Then he suddenly rebranded himself into a Colonel Kurtz-esque figure who surrounded himself with a retinue of prostitutes and local gangsters. I emailed John McAfee himself to find out more. but he brushed me off. So instead, I emailed Jeff Wise, a journalist who has covered John McAfee for over a dozen years.
And I kept on, he thinks I'm obsessed with him. He thinks I'm like, he's my white whale. He described me as his arch enemy, I think, at one point. First met him, he had started promoting this kind of dangerous low-level ultralight flying. After he moved down to Belize, he got into the bath salts. So he was getting into drugs, and he quickly alienated people.
MDPV. On December 12th, 2010, at 11...
Beware of the whale fucking photo of him. That's the same video that Will watched months ago. Where is the whale fucking photo? My man, whale fucking photo, dude. Play the video. No, I'm not gonna fucking keep playing the video if there is like...
7:47 p.m., he started a thread on a popular drug forum called bluelight.ru under the pseudonym Stuffmonger. There he evangelized about NDPV's hypersexuality-inducing effects, calling it super perv powder. He said it made him so horny that, quote, 100 milligram dose will merely guarantee fatigue and sore genitals from the non-stop sex and keep you up for 24 hours. He also wrote that he liked to put the stuff up his butt. Quote, measure your dose, apply a small amount of saliva, just to the tip of your middle finger, press it against the dose, insert. You will be well rewarded.
Yes, I've taken bath salts, every fucking one of them. Things like MDPV. Fuck yes, I took them. I'm a goddamn psychonaut.
I have had a number of acquaintances, both male and female, who have rubbed their genitals way past the point of bleeding and still couldn't stop. A user on a large dose, if alone and presented with food, will figure out a way to fuck it, or shove it up the rectum. This is not a joke. Everything on the tan becomes a sex partner or sex aid. I will not, anymore, let anyone on tan be alone with my dogs. Twice in the past year, tan users, one man, one woman, both after major doses to be fair, attempted to have sex with one of my dogs. Okay, that's enough of that. Just check the thread out if you want to. It honestly is such a fun read. By the way, when he says tan, he's referring to the tan variant of MDPV, as opposed to the white version. Anyway, he also wrote that he was manufacturing MDPV himself. Specifically, that he was attempting to extract tan MDPV from white hydrochloride. He took pictures of the process and shared it onto the site. He wrote that his experiments resulted in a number of side effects, especially paranoia. Quote, I am my only test subject. I temporarily blinded myself for 3 hours. I had visual and auditory hallucinations and the worst paranoia of my life. I did not sleep for 4 days. So what I'm getting at is MDPV made McAfee two things: wildly paranoid and insatiably horny. Therefore, after building a compound in the middle of the jungle, he started to surround himself with prostitutes and local gangsters. And this is no joke. The dude had a harem of women living with him. Now this sounds like every man's fantasy, but in reality, it's messy. He wrote on his blog that discord was common, and said that each woman tried to kill him more than once. For example, Betsy, a young woman he met after one of his dogs ate her chicken, threatened to slash his throat many times. Another girl, who he called Amber 1, since there were two Ambers, pulled a knife on Betsy and, quote, alternated between love and hate for Tiffany. Another girl named Marley burst into his room with a gun while he was sleeping with Anna, and had slapped Jane's face more times than he could count.
Yeah, they would try to fight one another too.
The youngest girl
I think one of the main ladies tried to murder another one of the ladies.
A 17-year-old named Amy Emschwiller. She tried to shoot him while he was asleep, but missed, resulting in her bursting his eardrum. Still, he spent most of his time having a whole lot of sex.
His sex has to last long. I mean, you can't give him 1 or 2 hours. He wants like morning to day. I mean, like, you have to be in that bed from morning till the next day, and if you can continue till 7 days.
I don't know why Hasan said this dude was crazy. Yeah, no, totally normal libertarian behavior, by the way. Least pedophilic libertarian, yeah.
That's sex for him.
And he needed to because of the NDPV. And I guess the stuff also made certain fetishes more appealing.
Because he wanted to have, like...
Oh, this is from that documentary that I was talking about.
Sex. He used to make you shit in his mouth.
So what about the paranoia?
Okay, how are you gonna just skip that? Okay, this is crazy. He's just like jumping on. He's like, he literally just skipped one of the most important parts of John McAfee's life and sexual behavior. John McAfee would hire prostitutes who then he would subsequently date for extended periods of time. And he had what is known as a shit hammock. So what he would do is he would let ladies that you just saw lay on top of this hammock that he had that had a hole in the middle of it, which these ladies would lay on and then shit through. And he would stand underneath that hole with his mouth open. Yeah. How the fuck do you figure out you have that fetish? Be libertarian.
Inducing effects of MDPV. Well, Amy Emschweiler convinced him that the nearby town of Carmelita was full of gang members bent on robbing and killing him. She also told him that it was a hub of crime and narco-trafficking, so he decided to clean it up. There was no police station, so he built one. He put members of the local police force onto his payroll and had them patrol Carmelita. They collected information for him and made arrests based off of his orders. He also took the law into his own hands. One time, he pulled over a vehicle himself, only to uncover a car full of seniors and children. The village leaders were perplexed. They told Joshua Davis, quote, "He just showed up and started telling us what to do. I thought he would come by, introduce himself, and explain what he was doing here. But he never did." They wondered how and why McAfee came to the conclusion that Carmelita was, as he insisted, the most corrupt village on the planet.
You guys understand what I mean when I say this is literally like a libertarian dream, right? Like having your own micro-colonial project is like, I can't even think of a more libertarian thing to do than just like straight up just overtaking a small village in a developing nation, or like a fucking colony or whatever, wherever he was at this point. It's like, it is literally just like, it is Ancapistan. He built his own private colonial force.
He said he didn't talk to any of the village leaders because Emschwiller had told him that they were all criminals. He added that she secretly recorded them, thinking up a way to kill him with a grenade. Even though he said that, at the same time he was adding local gangsters into his inner circle. He claimed that there were 11 attempts on his life during the previous year, so he decided to hire protection. But in the process, McAfee became something akin to a gang leader. Former members of his inner circle told press that McAfee was trying to take over Carmelita and even the Belize government. Soon, he had created a network of gangsters and cops that were on his payroll. His head of security was a former corrupt cop who was caught trying to sell police weapons to drug dealers. He also hired a man named Austin Tino Allen, who had been put away a total of 28 times. McAfee dressed his guards in military fatigues and had them patrol Carmelita on the back of trucks. He also set an 8 o'clock curfew and told the villagers that if they break it, he would kill them.
For me, it's like this guy's dangerous. Now, even before he started killing people, I thought this is a guy who's wreaking havoc on people's lives.
After an elaborate game of cat and mouse, he squashed beef with a notorious Belizean gangster named Eddie Mac-10 McCoy and hired him. During the process of making this video, someone claiming to be Eddie Mac-10 McCoy contacted me on Instagram. At first I thought it was a troll, but then I noticed that the pictures on his page were photographs that weren't available anywhere online, and that piqued my interest. After he emailed me more photos, I started to believe that it was actually him. Once I confirmed it, I agreed to talk to him on Skype the following morning.
That interview is also from that documentary I was talking about. What is the name of that documentary? Is it Gringo?
Okay, why don't we go back and let's start with my first question. How did you meet John McAfee?
Well, I met him. You remember how? So it was a long. Well, it's a long story, you know.
So it doesn't have anything to do with David Middleton?
Well, it had something to do with that, yes.
McAfee had allegedly paid some local hitmen to beat and publicly execute a man named David Middleton after he had robbed one of McAfee's properties. They beat him in the bush and attacked him with knives and tasers. Then they ran over his head with a truck in front of a crowd in Carmelita. After slipping into a coma, he died in hospital later that night.
Middleton told police that he had been abducted, beaten, and stabbed by two men who came to...
At this point, it's like the second kill that he has under his belt that we know of. If you were to consider the paragliding incident or whatever that little like baby plane is called to be another death under his belt.
To his house in Orange Walk. He says he did not know either of the men who drove a white pickup truck. He died on Friday at the KHMH, and it is now a murder investigation.
Since Mac-10 and Middleton were friends, McAfee assumed Mac-10 wanted revenge. Meanwhile, Mac-10 heard McAfee was out to get him, so he went into hiding. McAfee had his men looking for Mac-10 until he got a hold of him on the phone, and they agreed to meet. Mac-10 showed up with an AK-47, uncharacteristically, while McAfee's guards were all armed with shotguns.
Uncharacteristically.
Their 12-gauge shotguns were no match for the firepower of Mac-10's AK, so McAfee decided to relocate the meeting to a San Pedro cafe, and that's where they settled their differences. When George Lavelle, the country's Minister of National Security, caught wind of what McAfee was up to, he spearheaded an investigation. He couldn't figure out what McAfee would be doing, associating with notorious criminals like Mac-10, unless he was involved in the drug trade himself. When McAfee met Mac-10 at the cafe, he arrived guarded by a member of the police force, as well as two known gang members. To Marco Vidal, head of the gang suppression unit, it seemed like, quote, McAfee's intention was to make it categorically clear to Mac-10 that he controlled both legitimate and illegitimate armed forces. Then the authorities received information that McAfee might be distributing and manufacturing meth, and it made sense. As New York Times reporter David Segal put it, a rich guy in the middle of the jungle with a lab surrounded by a lot of men with weapons and links to area bad guys. It looked highly suspicious to the gang suppression unit. Plus, there were all those blue light posts of McAfee basically incriminating himself, so they raided his compound. The search uncovered weapons scattered throughout the property. What they found was 7 12-gauge pump-action shotguns, 2 9mm pistols, and 5 air rifles. They also found $19,650 in cash stashed away in McAfee's bedroom.
So this is the most important part of the story, is that John McAfee hyped himself up as this dangerous criminal in it just routinely and consistently, but like the drugs that he was trying to develop were not real and did not fucking work. And he himself was like, you know, I mean, he operated this way in Belize, like where the dollar goes a very long way. You know what I mean? Like he was like a budget gangster. Like he wasn't really a serious gangster, I guess.
And bricks of an unknown substance which McAfee seemed to be manufacturing. The stuff tested similarly to methamphetamine, but it was not an illegal substance. However, it was most likely MDPV. McAfee spent most of the night in jail until the U.S. Embassy intervened and he was let go.
The last day of April of this year, I woke up at 6 in the morning to 42 armed soldiers in full riot gear carrying automatic weapons storming my property in Orange Walk on the river. I was held in handcuffs behind my back in the sun for 14 hours without food or water. At one point, by the way, I asked a guard for food and water, not just for me, but for everyone else. The guard's response was, "Do I look like a chef to you?" Now, indeed, he did not look like a chef, so it was my mistake, but it was not a pleasant day. From that moment on, I've had nothing but problems with the Belizean government.
McAfee said publicly that he believed that the GSU raid was a direct result of refusing to donate $2 million to an Orange Walk politician's campaign. Then he said it was because of his refusal to assist the Prime Minister's son, Shine, who's a rapper by the way, to gain an early release from an American prison in 2009. The GSU put out the following statement. The GSU makes no apology for deeming a person in control of a laboratory with no approval for manufacturing any substance, having gang connections and heavily armed security guards, as a person of interest. In late May of 2012, McAfee wrote that he was on the run from the GSU onto a private message board. He wrote, I am hiding in an undisclosed location. I have 21% charge remaining. The GSU have issued additional charges. My lawyers tell me there is absolutely nothing to worry.
The buzzing is in the background. I'm not buzzing. It's in the background. God damn, dude. Zoomers have like the most fragile fucking hearing. They get so annoying when they hear anything that's like a little... When they hear anything that's like a little out of the norm, they're like, dude, this is literally the biggest inconvenience I've ever seen or heard in my entire life. Not as big as an inconvenience as running a top of the hour ad, though. However, top of the hour, every hour, there's a 6-second ad break. But, having said that, there is a way to avoid said ads. You can't avoid the buzzing in the video, so shut the fuck up. But you can avoid the ad break at the top of the hour. How can you do that? Well, by subscribing with either an Amazon Prime account or with an Amazon Prime. You can subscribe for free, or with a $5 subscription, you can subscribe for $5, or you can use an ad blocker or VPN. Here's the ad break now. Let's go. Bryce got more respected with all these noises. Oh, I forgot to mention. I'll talk about that later, but yeah, Rice Gummin and I are setting up a basketball situation right now. Yeah.
Worry about, so that makes me very worried. I'm down to 12% charge. I will leave you. A few days after his dramatic post, he was seen riding around in Ambergris Key in a golf cart accompanied by a 17-year-old girlfriend. Sometime later, journalist Joshua Davis woke up to a call from McAfee. It was 3 a.m. and McAfee sounded frantic and scared. Davis wrote that he spoke in a breathless, spooked tone and sounded genuinely unhinged. He told Davis that while walking on the beach at dusk, the GSU followed him on golf carts.
I was walking down south on the beach, and suddenly I hear and see the GSU vehicle.
McAfee says he ran towards a nearby hotel's porch and found shelter behind some bushes.
I got on the porch with some bushes around it on one of the Captain Morgan's buildings. As soon as I did that, I heard someone clear their throat up above me. Like this. Mm-hmm. Then one of the other guys came running over, didn't say a word. No one said a fucking word to me at all.
Then he said he was holed up there all night as they silently converged around him while cloaked in the darkness.
No one talked to me. No one said a word. You'd have no idea how scary it is to be surrounded by men with armed, with in their big uniforms with these big fucking guns, and no one is saying a word. They just surround you and stand still. Think about it. Freaky shit, sir. Freaky shit.
He remains completely still in fear that if he moved even an inch, the GSU would surely kill him.
And did you? Were you talking to them?
No, I didn't. I didn't say a word. I didn't open my mouth. I didn't budge for the entire time. I was afraid that if I moved at all, someone would shoot me for...
Were you standing or were you sitting or?
I was sitting down.
He says after hours of waiting, they finally retreated.
GSU is the gang unit in Belize that was tracking his movements.
Did quietly and disappeared.
No one said anything to me. It was freaky. It was freaky. It was freaky.
To me, it sounds like he's talking about shadow people. Quote, shadow people are often accompanied by other coinciding effects such as delirium, paranoia, anxiety, and feelings of impending doom. This tends to be a symptom of overusing stimulants such as...
Your title should be 40-year-old sexually deprived degenerate man viciously tries to act smart in front of thousands of brain-dead children. Damn, bro. Yo, you fired that off, dude. That was a fucking good one, brother. Here's that attention that you wanted desperately, my friend. I read it too. Pretty good. Oh, this is another repressed, horny fucking weirdo who went from... Bro, stop bitching about pronouns. Just talk important stuff. Give me that sexy ass. Why is it that these people always start off being like incredibly horny? They come in here super horny, and then I guess when I don't give them the attention, they just get really mad. There you go, man. I gave you the attention, and now I will never even think about you for the rest of my life.
MDPV.
He would talk
If you died tomorrow, I would not even know, and my life would not even change remotely. Insignificant.
about his hitmen. He would talk about how he could have people hurt or killed. And, you know, honestly, I was scared.
Although McAfee was initially interested in bankrolling the development of a topical antiseptic, he decided to switch the company's focus towards manufacturing a drug that could stimulate the female libido. Allison.
It's mean. I'm sorry. Dumbass trolls are incredibly insignificant in my life. Sorry. It's just the fucking truth.
And Adonisio went along with this, but she quickly became uncomfortable being around McAfee. She told press that McAfee would try to coax her into joining his sex parties, and would show her kinky pornographic websites. She said that he was incredibly open about his sexual exploits, to the point that he'd bring prostitutes off of the street. And one day, she, quote, literally came upon a garbage bag full of Viagra. Eventually, she had enough and started planning her escape. But before she could get away, McAfee did the unspeakable. The following clip is from the documentary Gringo.
I only have sort of flashes of recollection.
Trigger warning. Sexual assault, drugging, you know, all sorts of stuff.
He was standing over me, naked. And I woke up the next morning, and I was sick.
Once she told him that she wanted out, he lunged at her, causing her to seek cover behind a locked lab door. She then called a friend to escort her off of the property. The next day, she boarded a flight back home to Pennsylvania. Quote,
Wait.
As soon as I started questioning his motives, he turned on me and became a horrible, horrible person, controlling, manipulative, and dangerous. I'm thankful that I got out with my life. McAfee's response was, Allison is an unhappy person who is unhappy to the core. Whatever's on the table, she'll turn it this way, that way, and make something out of it, to be the cause of her unhappiness. Anyway, that's it for part 2. Join me for part 3.
Why do his videos start like this? By the way, when I watch these people, like, I gotta stop fucking shitting on the content creator, because, like, I keep seeing all the like crime channels that I've been watching. I mean, I respect what they do, okay? But I keep seeing, like, the content creators that I've been watching follow me on Twitter and stuff, and I get scared because I'm like, fuck. What if I said something? What if I said something where I just, like, roasted them? You know what I mean? I love all of the content creators that make all of these videos. Otherwise, I would just literally talk about politics all day, and it would be kind of boring after a while. I do shit on everybody. Yeah.
Okay.
After the GSU raided John McAfee's Orange Walk compound, he decided to move back to his villa on Ambergris Key. Unlike his secluded compound, his beachfront property was situated in a residential community. Most of his neighbors were retired expats, so when McAfee returned with his guns, guards, dogs, and
do you seriously admire this guy for sticking to his beliefs, even with his violence? Or is the admiration kind of a joke? You did it. You arrived at something that's a joke without me literally telling you that it's a joke. I'm proud of you. This is progress, okay? This is actually progress. That's very cool. I'm unironically proud of you. Leftists are capable of growth in the realm of humor. It's good. No, I'm not joking when I say I'm proud of you.
prostitutes. He came in like a bulldozer and pissed everyone off. His armed guards and dogs roamed the public beach, which freaked people out. There was a petition filed against McAfee by the residents and visitors of the Mata Grande subdivision. The complaint read, "These problems are all at the residence of John McAfee. Security guards on McAfee's property walk around with shotguns at night and up and down the beach. They have been known to shine spotlights right into people's eyes at night and act aggressively with their guns, chambering a bullet and nonsense such as this.
Hasan, why are you shitting on McAfee? This video is literally slander. First and foremost, if I was shitting on John McAfee, I would have to charge him because that's what he's into. And secondly, this video is not slanderous in any capacity. It's literally 100% true. Like, I've yet to see, as a matter of fact, I think he skips a lot of the more horrible things that he's done, and just like talks about them briefly. So I would go so far as to say the video is like actually doing John McAfee's actually doing John McAfee like not only justice, but like maybe even doing right by him to a degree that he doesn't deserve.
People are scared to walk down the beach at night as a result. The tourists are terrified. Vicious dogs on his property are running amok. These animals get loose and run as a pack. 3 residents have been bitten, and 3 tourists have been attacked. McAfee's most vocal critic was a man named Greg Fall. Greg Fall was a retired contractor and former Marine from Miami, Florida, who was living in his dream home. He purchased the property after it had been leveled by a hurricane and was left standing with only 2 walls and a floor. It took him 7 years to rebuild it, yet he persisted in order to ensure that he can spend his remaining years relaxing in sunny beliefs. Then McAfee showed up and started fucking everything up. There was a lounge on the beach that Greg liked to visit, but to get there, he had to pass McAfee's property. After many run-ins with the dogs and guards, Fall became fed up. When Fall confronted McAfee, McAfee pointed a shotgun at him and cycled it. Then he said, "Get off my property, or I'll shoot your ass." On November 8th, Fall filed a formal complaint to the mayor's office. When nothing came from that, Fall told people that he would deal with McAfee's dogs himself. On Friday, November 9th, 2012, Joshua Davis received an email from McAfee that at 10:30 p.m., he saw a contingent of black-suited thugs step onto the dock next to his villa and disperse onto the beach. 30 minutes later, his dogs were poisoned. McAfee wrote, "Mello, Lucky, Dipsy, and Guerrero have already died."
This is the only part of the Gringo documentary where, like, McAfee kind of comes off, I think, in like a favorable light, where they cover it as like, you know, this dude was like really fucking angry at him and like actually murdered his dogs. So he just went and murdered him straight up.
I had to call Amy to tell her about Mello. She is hysterical. On November 10th, 2012, McAfee called Davis to tell him that his dogs were vomiting blood and convulsing on the ground. He had to shoot them to put them out of their misery. That same day, McAfee told people that he would get his revenge. On Sunday, November 11th, 2012, at 7:20 a.m., Greg Fall was found dead by his housekeeper inside of his living room. The medical examiner said that the cause of death was a gunshot wound to the back of his head. He was found lying in a pool of his own blood in front of his television, with the back of his shirt pulled over his head and taser marks all over his back. There were no visible signs of forced entry. A 9mm Luger casing was found on the exterior steps of his home, and his laptop and iPhone were discovered missing. McAfee quickly became a person of interest in the case, so the police...
It doesn't matter. It's like not fucking... They're not showing anything, but still, I'm like, you know, being
visited
extra...
his house to question him. But McAfee wasn't there. On his blog, McAfee claimed that he watched them arrive from the beach, so he quickly dug a hole in the sand and buried himself with a cardboard box over his head so he...
That's Kajimbo, by the way.
...can breathe. He said he stayed like that for hours until the authorities left. He claimed at the time he had no idea that Greg Fall was dead, and that he didn't know until he returned home and was told by his groundskeeper. McAfee claimed that his initial reaction was shock. He thought that the GSU must have been trying to kill him, but mistook Greg Fall for him instead. He also said that he thought the GSU poisoned his dogs in order to attempt to get him to leave the country. Marco Vidal of the GSU denied his claim. Quote, "This guy amazes me every day. We don't have anything personal against Mr. McAfee. There is no need for us to poison his dogs." When asked if he killed Greg Fall because of the poisoned dogs, McAfee responded with,
"The idea that my neighbors may have done it did in fact occur to me. One of them, and the first one was the doctor next door because he lives closest to me. Greg lives way down the beach, and I was even surprised he could even hear my dogs. But both Greg and the doctor have dogs, love dogs. A dog owner, a dog lover, is not going to poison anybody's dog under any circumstances. Now, maybe they'd poison me, but not my dogs."
Regardless of his proclaimed innocence, McAfee decided to go into hiding, even though he was only wanted for questioning, and there was no warrant for his arrest. In the documentary Gringo, the filmmaker suggested that Eddie Mac Ted McCoy killed Greg Fall on McAfee's behalf. After speaking to McAfee's former caretaker, Cashin Chavarera, they learned that McAfee had Cashin deposit $5,000 into Eddie Mac Ted McCoy's account on the morning after McAfee's dogs were poisoned. On the night of Greg Fall's murder, Cashin allegedly picked McCoy up near Fall's house and then drove him back to McAfee's place. Due to these circumstances, Cashin posited that McAfee had paid McCoy to kill Greg Fall. Then Nanette Bernstein, the documentary's director, questioned Mac 10, who denied everything, and said that he was at his sister's wedding that night. Nanette Bernstein said that although she wanted to check out his alibi, it felt way too dangerous. Later, Amy Emschwiller was detained in connection to the murder of Greg Fall and stated that one of McAfee's girlfriends lured Greg Fall into his house and did a striptease to distract him while Mac 10 approached from behind and shot him in the back of the head. In the documentary, they noted that police did not have DNA testing back in 2012, so although a fingernail was found in Greg Fall's scalp, they had no way to see if it matched Eddie McCoy's. However, Mac 10 told me that after the documentary aired, he was arrested.
I was arrested for the murder, but like I said, I got acquitted. None of the evidence didn't match.
How could the evidence match if there's no way to fucking process DNA, dude? That's crazy. Oh man, yeah, there was no evidence, dude.
Prosecution branch, they dropped it before it even got bigger, because they didn't have any evidence that's strong enough to go to court. So they dropped it right away. And found out it wasn't true, or it was a bunch of crap. So why would you go to court looking stupid with a bunch of crap, or take a bunch of crap to court? Or it's just because someone's saying it in a documentary, and when they looked up trying to get any evidence concerning it or from the documentary, nothing matched what the guy said wasn't true, right? Because first of all, if you wired $5,000 to someone's account, they should have record of that money. They went to check, there was no record. Then my alibi was at the wedding. There was several people that know me. Everyone there, little neighbors, friends, family, and everyone did came out and speak that I was there. So, that's a overwhelming amount of people talking on my behalf that I was at the wedding because it was my sister's. So why would they lie, right? And, they did our investigation and found out that I wasn't there. So they couldn't go ahead and charge me and pin it on me. So they had to release me.
By then, it was a few years after their initial investigation, and the Belizean authorities now had a way to test his DNA. He told me that the results came back as negative, and also that his alibi checked out. Moreover, the $5,000 was never documented as being wired to his account. He said that he's currently involved in a civil suit against the documentary filmmakers. I emailed the Belizean Police Department to confirm Mac 10's statements, but I'm still waiting for their response. If they get back to me, I'll stick you an update in the comments below. Do you think that McAfee killed Greg Fall?
I'm not. McAfee's, I'm not sure. Me personally, I don't think he can kill anyone personally. He just carry guns, but I don't think he even knows to use his. So I'm not sure about that.
Do you think he hired some people to beat and publicly execute David Middleton?
Well, that's the next thing. I heard about it, but it's hard to say. There was a lot of story about it, but no one knows the truth. But could be. Could be.
CBS 5 reporter Joe Vasquez in the newsroom with a strange tale of the software multimillionaire who may be in trouble with the law. Joe?
Yeah, Alan, this is such a bizarre situation. In fact, several reporters who've interviewed him in recent days describe him as erratic and eccentric, and he's recently been keeping company with gangsters. Now, John McAfee is on the run, refusing to talk to the police about the murder of his neighbor.
There are two versions of the story pertaining to McAfee's time on the run. One is the factual version of events, and the other is a highly exaggerated, fantastical bit of fiction written by McAfee himself. First, I'm going to share McAfee's because it is fucking hilarious. By disguising himself, he claimed that he was able to spy on police officers and reporters. He dyed his beard light gray, covered his skin with dark shoe polish, and stuffed his cheeks with bubblegum to fatten his face. He made his nose appear awkward and lopsided by shoving a shaved tampon into his right nostril.
Okay, dude, what the fuck? Oh, holy shit. That was...
He wore ragged clothes and draped a serape over his shoulders. He walked with a limp and hunched over to appear 6 inches shorter. Posing as a peddler of Guatemalan woven goods, he watched his home while pushing a fixed-gear bicycle up and down the beach. One day, he'd look like a tamale and burrito salesman.
Cancel the dead man? No, we're talking about the YouTuber using blackface. I think he's black, though. The YouTuber is.
The next day, he'd pretend to be a drunk German tourist with a partially bandaged face and an oversized Hawaiian shirt over Speedos. From the beach, he watched police raid his home several times. He watched them dig up his dead dogs and cut their heads off. Weirdly enough, that actually happened. The police were looking to see if the bullets he used to put down his dogs matched the one used to kill Greg Fall. After his reconnaissance from the beach, McAfee claimed that he spent weeks hiding out with Samantha in the jungle. He said that they moved every 4 hours to throw off their pursuers. He hid by laying on the floors of taxis and sleeping on mattresses infested with lice. McAfee wrote that he had been preparing for his escape since the GSU raided his compound in April of that year. He claimed that he began a 6-month surveillance operation with the help of a network of people who could not be followed. He said that he gained access to secret government information by donating 75 cheap laptops to government officials that were installed with keystroke logging software. He said that he hired the mistresses of government officials to bug their homes and offices. He also claimed that he had access to the donated laptops' webcams and microphones. By doing all of this, he claimed that he was able to stay one step ahead of his pursuers at all times. Additionally, he said that he uncovered a massive human trafficking conspiracy between the Belizean government, Hezbollah, and the Los Zeta cartel. Apparently, the Belizean...
Okay, so he was talking about the Belizean government. Okay, so here's the funny thing about this, okay? Why is it that it's always fucking libertarians who are like literally in the process of like sex trafficking minors, which is what he's doing very openly and very well in a very well documented capacity? Why is it always those people who are like, the government are doing sex trafficking? It's so strange, dude. Like, when he says he wants to kill the Sinaloa cartel, I feel as though that is coming from a place of jealousy. You know what I mean? Like, he's just jealous that, like, the Sinaloa cartel has been significantly more effective as, like, a business entity than he ever could have imagined. Whether it be making drugs or doing a bunch of crimes or even taking over an entire region and controlling it, like as a form of government. Like, he tried to do it in fucking Belize and failed, basically. So he was just like upset that's why when they asked him, hey, who would you kill if you had the opportunity? He's like, the Sinaloa cartel. It's because he was jealous.
Government was issuing passports to Hezbollah terrorists in order to infiltrate the United States with individuals having links to terrorist organizations. While, quote, Hezbollah is using the Zeta drug transportation network to transport something similar in weight and size to the drugs that the Zetas know so well how to slip into the States. In return, Hezbollah is providing know-how to the Zetas in advanced weaponry. I'm not making any of this up. By late November of 2012, he was off to Guatemala with 2 Vice magazine journalists, Amy Emschwiller, Samantha, a guy named Keith, and his driver, Tom Mangard. McAfee wrote that he used subterfuge to thwart the Belizean government's effort to capture him. He said that he had advanced teams driving ahead of him and reporting activity at checkpoints. He claimed that one of the advanced team drivers was a man who legally changed his name to John McAfee 30 years prior and had been acting as his double ever since. His other plan to pass checkpoints involved the rain.
Brilliant.
McAfee had a hunch that the Belizean authorities never did anything whatsoever while it was raining. He wrote that because of the rain, they passed all checkpoints without being stopped. He also posted a photo of an officer leaning on the hood of a car with others huddled inside. I can't comment on the veracity of the Belizean authorities' supposed allergy to rain, but there is one thing that I can confirm that McAfee actually did do. While driving towards the southern border, he did trick the press into believing that he was arrested in Mexico, and there's footage of him doing this.
He was arrested with a fake ID, and so you cannot give them the name of that ID.
He got arrested with a fake ID, so they don't know that it's him that they have.
Okay, so that was something, right? Needless to say, it's mostly bullshit. So now it's time to go over the real story. After Greg Fall was found dead, McAfee did go into hiding, but definitely not in the dense jungles of Belize. Instead, he sat cozy in a motel for the next 3 weeks, rather than keeping a—
Damn, dude. Just absolute madness that he was able to evade the authorities by driving around and staying at a hotel. Remarkable, really.
Low profile, McAfee did everything in his power to acquire as much attention as possible.
And to see how McAfee, who is, well, listen, let's go back to 2012. He's a hardcore drug addict at this point. He's just effed up out of his mind. And he's on the run. He's like, holed up in some cheap motel on the outskirts of Belize City. And most people would be absolutely losing their marbles. And here's a guy who's like, okay, Tom, go get me a whole bunch of burner phones. I'm going to start calling international journalists and turning this into a sensation, which he did. Yeah, his escape, when he wasn't even, I mean, think about it. There wasn't even an arrest warrant out for him. And he's like, I'm on the lam, and he's spinning this whole narrative about this, which is ridiculous. But how many journalists have any knowledge of like how Belize, where even Belize is, let alone how the government works? And this idea that like Belize is like this super efficient police state with like SWAT teams poised on the top of every coconut tree. I mean, the whole thing was just so ludicrous. But it was such an education in how to hack the media.
He was on the phone non-stop with Joshua Davis, who live tweeted every development. Then he made a blog and a Twitter. On November 17th, he wrote a total of 5 essay-length entries onto his blog. The first one was an introduction, but instead of writing about his time on the run, he chose to accuse Jeff Wise of cheating on his wife with a young woman who was part of McAfee's inner circle back when Wise was covering McAfee's aerotrekking days.
Oh, yeah. I think he might have done that more than once. He did that while he was on the run. He did something like, oh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I know why he attacked me in the first place. I mean, that was pretty, understandable. Why he retracted it, I don't know. I mean, he certainly isn't worried about liability or anything. I mean, I should say it's not true, but I don't know. That was a weird thing.
9 days later, McAfee posted a submission with a headline reading, "An apology to Jeff Wise," which was followed up by, "I have erroneously accused Jeff Wise of improper behavior on a reporting trip that he did to my flying ranch in New Mexico. His online presence confused those following."
Wait. I gotta read the rest of it. What is he saying?
Ranch in New Mexico.
Shit. I finally received the photos from that trip, and I was going to publish them. And when I looked at them, to my horror, it was a different reporter, whose name I will obviously not release, from a different magazine on a different trip. I wish I could excuse myself due to the fact that I did dozens of interviews and appeared in dozens of magazines during my flying times in New Mexico, and could be expected to be confused, but that is no excuse. Jeff's trip did not even include a campfire session. I was wrong. I apologize. I know that does not help, but I am truly sorry. I find this so odd, dude. He's like, what an honorable person, dude.
Proper behavior on a reporting trip that he did to my flying ranch in New Mexico. His online presence confused those following the story, who wondered whether McAfee might unintentionally expose his location due to his overwhelming online presence. He responded with, "I founded one of the largest computer security firms in the world. Of course I won't let my IP address be known." After countless Twitter and blog posts, McAfee embarked on a press junket. He spoke to Alex Jones,
and he is on with us today. Sir, thank you for reaching out to us.
Joe Rogan.
Hello?
Hello?
Mr. McAfee.
Yes.
It's Joe Rogan. How are you, sir?
CNN.
Did you kill Greg Fall?
I barely knew the man, and why would I kill him? He was a neighbor that lived 200 yards down the beach.
Do you really believe that this is a vendetta by the government of Belize to take you down and kill you?
Absolutely, sir.
My man never says no, by the way. It's kind of
He
funny.
also appeared on NBC and offered a reward of $25,000 to whoever finds the killer of Greg Fall.
This morning, we told you how McAfee had announced a $25,000 Belizean reward for the arrest of the real killer. That's about $12,500 U.S.
By November 31st, he hooked up with a Vice journalist and videographer who covered his journey into Guatemala. Once in Punta Gorda, they arranged for a boat to take them into Livingston. Looks like a good time. Ooh, dolphins. Then they traveled into Fronteras, and finally into Guatemala City. Once in Guatemala City, the guys from Vice, editor-in-chief Rocco Castoro, and videographer Robert King put together an article with a headline that read, "We are with John McAfee right now, suckers." They also posed for a picture together, which turned out to be a huge mistake. Someone noticed that the photograph still contained GPS location data embedded by the phone that took it. That person then tweeted, "Check the metadata in the photo." Oops. Soon the world knew.
Dude, that's so funny, dude. Hey, you want to know the inherent irony? The weakest point of any fucking cybersecurity system is humans. That is the most exploitable point. And there you go. John McAfee should have fucking known that inviting other humans into your fucking house and like running from the goddamn law while doing that was a mistake. Especially if you're going to post photos from that experience without deleting the fucking exfil or whatever the fuck it's called, the metadata. Exfil, whatever, the metadata. Even I know that, and I don't even know what it's fucking called.
John McAfee's exact location, which was poolside at the hotel in Marina, Nanawana, in Isabel, Guatemala. In response, McAfee tried to bluff his way out of it. He claimed that he knowingly disclosed his location in order to throw his pursuers off of his tail. After Robert King from Vice went online to echo his assertion, Matt Honan of Wired.com wrote that he followed an egregiously stupid action with a far worse one. By lying for John McAfee, King, a photojournalist, was intentionally aiding and abetting a fugitive. Vice later put out a statement saying that it wouldn't comment about its reporting the McAfee case.
By the way, this is such fucking 2012 Vice, dude. They used to do shit like this all the fucking time, dude. Great. Back when Vice was kind of cool, even though they were like, then they got acquired by Murdoch, or Murdoch bought a piece of them, and then all hell broke loose since then. They've just been dog shit.
After having
Even back then, they were annoying.
his location exposed, McAfee relocated to another hotel. There he met with Samantha's uncle, a lawyer.
How else would I have learned about Crocodile and so many other things if... I mean, they still make, like, good content. Don't get me wrong. From time to time, which we watch all the time. But, like... How else would I have known about Crocodile as a child? Okay? Not as a child, but, like, as a young adult, I guess. Yeah, don't they do content on dumb Twitch streamers? Yeah, exactly. North Korea. They did so many cool videos. They were terrible.
Lawyer and the former Attorney General of Guatemala, Telesforo Guerrera, who he hired.
The cannibal warlords in Liberia.
While enjoying a delicious-looking breakfast, McAfee had some kind words to say about Samantha.
She is a remarkable young woman.
Or not
I
the
love her
cannibal
very much.
warlords in Liberia. Where were the cannibal warlords in? Were they in Liberia? Oh, it was. Okay, good. Yeah, general butt naked.
And we are getting married. So,
Good one on Colombia drug. Yeah, I remember that one too. The Colombian drug that makes people act normal, but then forget everything that happened the next day, dude.
Fortunately, you will have a potential criminal in the family now.
Then he went for a haircut and had his gray roots touched up. After all, he had a press meeting to attend, so he had to look presentable. He told press that he planned to seek asylum in Guatemala and to share documentation proving the intense corruption at all levels of the Belizean government. On December 6th of 2012, McAfee was arrested outside of his hotel by Interpol for entering the country illegally. He was then taken to a detention center. Although he had been arrested, he seemed upbeat, writing on his blog, quote, "I'm in jail in Guatemala, vastly superior to Belize jails. I asked for a computer, and one magically appeared. The coffee is also excellent." Guatemalan authorities kept him there while they waited for the foreign ministry to give word of what to do with him. Both the Guatemalan and Belizean authorities were left scratching their heads. The Belizean police put out a statement saying that there was no warrant for McAfee's arrest, and Guatemala's foreign minister said that although his government was unaware of any arrest warrant, he would study McAfee's asylum request once presented. According to an unnamed source in the Guatemalan government, there was no reason to detain Mr. McAfee because there was no legal case against him pending in the country. It was unclear why McAfee even sought asylum in Guatemala, since there were no restrictions on his travels, so he didn't even need special status to stay in the country. The Prime Minister of Belize, Dean Barrows, summed it up succinctly.
I don't want to be unkind, but it strikes me that he's extremely paranoid. In fact, I would go so far as to say bonkers.
Still, McAfee did enter Guatemala illegally, and even though there was no extradition treaties between the countries, Guatemala intended to honor Belize's request to send him back. In response, McAfee took to his blog with a plea. Please email the president of Guatemala and beg him to allow the court system to proceed to determine my status in Guatemala. Later that day, McAfee suddenly collapsed in the detention center and was rushed to hospital. Then he was carried out of the detention center on a stretcher and taken to the hospital with a gaggle of press in tow. Watching the footage, it's immediately obvious that he didn't have a heart attack at all. Regardless, it was reported that his lawyers said he suffered from 2 mild heart attacks. His hospital stay was brief. The doctor who examined him said he was fine. His heart rhythm and blood pressure were normal, and he appeared to only be suffering from high stress. A few hours later, he was taken back to the detention center. McAfee later clarified the situation, stating that it was all a ruse in order to take advantage of a window of time which would allow an appeal to go through before he was deported back to Belize. Within a few days, it was announced that he would be placed on board an American Airlines flight to Miami. After being escorted to the airport by Guatemalan officials, McAfee told the press this.
I've been running through jungles and rivers and oceans, and I think I need to rest for a while. That's all you need to know now.
Okay.
Hello and welcome to the final part of the John McAfee series. Now let me catch you up to date on what McAfee's been up to since 2012. After being deported from Guatemala, McAfee landed in Miami and checked into a South Beach hotel. The next day, he hired a prostitute named Janice at a beachside Miami cafe. The two fell in love, but threatening the relationship was a violent pimp named Suave, who McAfee claimed he had to rescue her from. After his heroics, the two moved to Portland, where they married in 2013. As we all know by now, McAfee loves to spin a self-mythologizing yarn to just about anyone who will listen.
Oh yeah.
So it's no wonder that he spent the better half of 2013 occupied with the development of...
For as wild as his life was, he surely did embellish a lot, especially stories that made him look horrible, like a horrible monster, even though he was a horrible monster in many ways. But he absolutely fucking... Bro, you're obsessed with this guy? I have no response to this, dude. Like, no, he wasn't. Why? Did you guys forget that he literally fucking held a woman against her will and drugged her? And had sex with 17-year-old prostitutes who he sex trafficked? Hired a hitman to murder his neighbor? Did a truck execution on someone else? Like, what the fuck? He was not a good guy.
Books, movies, graphic novels, and documentaries being made about his highly colored life.
This is Clark's treatment.
So this is the tagline,
The
James Bond
tagline.
meets Scarface.
With a little Indiana Jones, right. So it's all three, kind of.
In May of 2013, he told USA Today that he had spent the previous months eluding assassins sent from Belize and being shot at. He said he was constantly on the move, from town to town and hotel to hotel. As a warning to his supposed pursuers, he announced that he's always armed and has won numerous shooting contests. Further adding to his paranoia, a bushfire burnt down his compound in Belize 4 days after he spoke to USA Today. When asked about it, McAfee said, "I believe that there are a select few with great power in Belize that will go to great lengths to harm me. This fire was not just a strange coincidence." It was around this time that McAfee began to embrace his public persona as an eccentric and self-destructive millionaire. Prior to that, he presented himself as a strict teetotaler, one who took out newspaper ads to expose drug houses in his neighborhood. As Mac 10 told me, he banned the use of any substance on his property.
No one couldn't take alcohol or no one couldn't drink. It was an alcohol-free zone, and so it was a drug-free zone. You know, so not sure where that came from, but I didn't see him drinking, and no way on his compound had alcohol.
But somehow, within a few years, he went from this.
By the way, I stopped using all drugs, selling drugs, or accessing drugs a little over 30 years ago, so this is not a recent part of my history.
To this.
Would you mind if I shoot up heroin on camera?
I would advise you against that.
Okay, dude.
I'm not shooting it up. I'm just getting ready for it. I will see you guys later, okay? I gotta start my tune, right?
It was great talking to you, man. You take care.
Bye-bye.
With his brash and irreverent video titled How to Uninstall McAfee.
Was this TOS? I remember wanting to watch this, but I was like worried.
He solidified his gonzo image in the minds of its millions of viewers.
You know, something went wrong. 15 years ago, I had some beautiful software and they took it over. I don't know what they did. It was like the time I hired that Bangkok prostitute to do my taxes while I fucked my accountant.
In late 2013, while living in Montreal, Canada, he was evicted from his Portland apartment, seemingly due to a lack of payments. There was a stalking complaint filed against McAfee after the building's property manager received emails from him that mentioned threatening associates from a motorcycle club and his arsenal of weapons. A judge granted a temporary protective order against McAfee and scheduled a January 3rd hearing, which McAfee didn't attend. He told Men's Journal that he spent the year fleeing from the Sinaloa cartel. In actuality, he worked as a consultant in Montreal before moving to a small town in Kentucky called Lexington. By 2015, he went into business with a tech incubator called Roundhouse. Then he started a company called Future Tenth Central, which acquired cybersecurity products. One such product was called Divasive, which protected users from malicious apps attempting to gain access to their phone's features that are sensitive to infiltration, such as its camera and Wi-Fi. Divasive ended up being a commercial failure. He became the chairman and CEO of MGT Capital Investments.
His music is murdering my brain.
After meeting its former head, Robert Ladd, who asked him to come on board. At the time, MGT was ostensibly focused on acquiring, developing, and monetizing intellectual property assets. But in reality, it functioned as a penny stock pump and dump that would go on to be investigated by the SEC and face a class action lawsuit. MGT wanted McAfee to be the face of their company, since he was sure to create a buzz. And that he did. MGT became the second most traded stock in the United States within a week, and saw a 1,000% stock jump after McAfee was named CEO. But the effects were temporary. There was the matter of some infighting between McAfee and investor Barry Honig, but that's not the reason that MGT sunk into obscurity. The reason was because it was all a scam. Quote, MGT has been run like nothing but a pump and dump since May. MGT hired John McAfee to pump the stock price, which he did very well on Twitter. MGT hired paid promoters like StockBeast.com to pump the stock price. MGT used misleading forward-looking statements and forward-looking promises in all of their press releases to help pump the stock price. MGT was all about promotion and nothing about current business operations. Soon, MGT was removed from the New York Stock Exchange. And in 2018, MGT was hit with a class action lawsuit over...
Yeah, this guy, would it surprise all of you that, you know, he was a big crypto buff as well? I mean, you know this already, but... Shocked.
For allegations that its former CEO participated in a pump and dump scheme to manipulate the price of company shares. Surprisingly, McAfee managed to get out relatively unscathed. He left the company in August 2017 and set his sights onto the cryptocurrency craze. With his tech background and wild man image, McAfee was well suited to become a major figure in the 21st century gold rush that is the cryptocurrency world.
I got an arsenal, a bunch of big guns, drugs, and some cars to pull. Cars holes with the crypto paid in full. A bunch of hating motherfuckers writing articles about McAfee, John. McAfee, John. Don't fuck with my dogs, don't fuck with my dogs.
He broke onto the scene in a big way.
Okay, we gotta watch that in its entirety. Please go ahead. Someone please send that to me. That's oh my God. Don't fuck with my dogs. Like, you know what that is. Have you ever been contacted by RTTV? Yes. Numerous times.
He famously declared that if one Bitcoin was not worth $1 million by December 31st, 2020, he would eat his dick on national television. Someone made a website to track his promise. On it, you can see that Bitcoin is currently sitting at around $5,000, which is...
Will McAfee eat his own dick? Yes. 89% below McAfee's bets price target. The coin bros, dude.
Yeah, Coin Bros. Let you gang. Hey, yo, John, how the hell I get this damn antivirus off my PC, dog? Yeah. Woo! What you know about the streets? What you know about Belize? What you know about faking your own heart attack just to ditch the police? Cardiac. What you know about privacy? I got a bad bitch on side of me. Janice. I got the FBI eye. I see you. All of these hackers are trying me. Trying to get them a peek. Trying to get all on my Twitter for that coin of the week. I got China trying to ban every time that I speak. And now we got Trump. Bet you wish you voted for me. I got an arsenal, a bunch of big guns, drugs, and some cars to pull. Cars holes with the crypto paid in full. A bunch of hating motherfuckers writing articles about McAfee, John. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. Don't fuck with my dogs, don't fuck with my dogs. Woo! Crypto flipping, woo! In the lab just mixing, woo! You gon' see my vision, got hoes shooting at me and they just keep missing. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. Don't fuck with my dogs, don't fuck with my dogs. Woo! Crypto flipping, woo! In the lab just mixing, woo! You gon' see my vision, got hoes shooting at me and they just keep missing. Woo!
Some people think I'm psychotic. I'm riding something exotic. I got no need for a...
Wait, what is he riding that's something exotic?
I got no need for a rubber. I'm whipping up antibiotics.
Bro, this is like dark alternate dimension Noel Miller, dude. My man's literally in a Camaro. What the fuck? This is so good.
I only fuck with the crypto. I got no need for a pocket. Bitcoin 2020, a million. I hope that you bought it. Sitting in the tub, got my girl pouring bath salt. Picking ICOs, it's a motherfucking cash vault. Riding the Bentley, burning asphalt. Hating on my Twitter, get a motherfucking blackball.
McAfee, John. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. Don't fuck with my dogs, don't fuck with my dogs. Woo! Crypto flipping, woo! In the lab just mixing, woo! You gon' see my vision, got hoes shooting at me and they just keep missing. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. Don't fuck with my dogs, don't fuck with my dogs. Woo! Crypto flipping, woo! In the lab just mixing, woo! You gon' see my vision, got hoes shooting at me and they just keep missing. McAfee, John. McAfee, John. John. Don't fuck with my dogs.
Dude, Just every libertarian has a security unit of like, why does this guy just look like John Stossel? Like, how? Like, why does every libertarian have one guy that looks like John Stossel in the fucking team? So that is John Stossel. Oh my God. This is awesome, dude. This is awesome. He's just like, he's just living a Midwestern king life, dude. He's just living like he's just living an upper middle class Midwestern lifestyle, and they made a rap music video out of it.
Don't fuck with my dogs. Crypto flipping. In the lab just mixing. You gon' see my vision. Got hoes shooting at me and they just keep missing. McAfee.
They're not in Belize. This is in Lexington, Kentucky, boys. That's not.
McAfee. Don't fuck with my dogs. Don't fuck with my dogs.
Dude, this is my favorite. Like, just like the hoorah military vet looking guy and this tactical kitted out pistol, dude. It's great. Look at this, like, look at this gun, bro. This is the lamest excuse for a drug lord mansion. It just looks like a rich grandma house, because it is. Sorry, son, I'm no longer a socialist. John McAfee as libertarian pilled me goodbye. Nipples protruding, very disrespectful. Okay, let's keep going.
Which is 89.22% below his prediction. With 643 days remaining, it's unlikely that his prophecy will come true. It's also unlikely that he'd ever make good on his promise. Something similar happened when McAfee announced that he'd give $250,000 to anyone who could hack his unhackable Bitcoin wallet called BitFi. It was hacked. A teenage hacker even figured out how to play Doom on it. But McAfee refused to pay up. Even still, his ability to move cryptocurrency markets with a single tweet is undeniable. Whenever he promotes a coin, it surges in value. But he does have...
Wow, that's so strange that, like, this guy who was a charlatan for so fucking long, like, who was a designated charlatan, was still able to move cryptocurrency. That's so weird. Almost like a lot of these crypto bros just, you know, are no different than the Midwestern moms that got sucked into fucking multi-level marketing schemes, dude. Just younger.
His fair share of critics. Some say that he uses his influence to run pump and dump schemes. The theory goes that he buys obscure altcoins, tweets out his approval for them, and then takes advantage of the temporary price momentum by selling off his previously purchased coins. Currently, McAfee says he's on the run from the IRS.
I have not paid taxes for 8 years. I've made no secret of it. I have not filed returns.
Oops.
Every year I tell the IRS I'm not filing a return. I have no intention of doing so. Come and find me. Not illegal? Today, January 22nd, the IRS has convened a grand jury in the state of Tennessee to charge myself, my wife, Mrs. McAfee, 4 of my campaign workers with unspecified IRS crimes of a felonious nature.
Thing is, there's no proof that the IRS has any plans to indict him at all. Presently, McAfee is situated somewhere in the Bahamas. Those following his Twitter are treated to daily updates of his shenanigans from the Freedom Boat, a yacht lent to him by a fan. You should follow him though. Sometimes he tweets about fucking whales.
Wait, is there like a photo here of him whale fucking or anything like that?
He's also running his 2020 campaign from the aforementioned yacht. He announced plans to recruit 20,000 clones who will wear John McAfee masks and act as his surrogates on the campaign trail. They're set to appear in areas where McAfee wants to speak and broadcast a live feed of his voice through loudspeakers. I left out a lot of things for brevity's sake, but here's a quick rundown of some trademark batshit insanity from John McAfee since 2012. In 2017, he went on a naked shooting spree in his Tennessee home after thinking that he heard an intruder. The FBI investigated it. They found nothing. McAfee told Newsweek that his house is a fortress. Quote, I eat, sleep, and shower with a pistol in my hand. When I enter the main house from my bedroom, secured with a 10-gauge...
This is unironically the future, past, and present libertarians want. He was just living it. This is what I'm saying. Like... So, I will conclude in a second, once this video is done, what I think about McAfee's death.
Solid steel door. My 2 German shepherds and 1 pit bull precede me. Moments before I emerge, I call my head of security and request that my detail all be sitting in reclining chairs with their feet up, a vulnerable position since I am standing and armed. This is not a fun situation. He also once said that he was poisoned in a tweet which read, I apologize for my 3-day absence, but I was unconscious for 2 days at the Vidant Medical Center in North Carolina and just woke up. My enemies managed to spike something that I ingested. However, I am more difficult to kill than anyone can possibly imagine. I am back. And for those who did this, you will soon understand the true meaning of wrath. I know exactly who you are. You had better be gone. So it's time to bring this series to an end. To me, John McAfee represents the worst and the best that humanity has to offer. On one hand, he's probably a psychopath, but on the other hand, his life story also inspires awe. I genuinely look forward to whatever the hell it is that he does next. And you know, if what's next is a prison sentence, well, I'd probably shrug and think that he had it coming. Thanks to everyone who's been watching, and a thanks to future viewers as well. That's it for now. Until then, stay tuned for more weird stories.
What happened next was murder. I mean, not murder. Why did I say that? Oh my God, John McAfee made me say that. Okay, so. Do I think that John McAfee killed himself? Or was he actually murdered? Because he did get a tattoo of himself promoting an altcoin called Whacked in honor of the government pursuing him. Absolutely not. You're a fucking idiot if you think he got murdered. This was a great refresher on the trials and just the life of John McAfee. That one, I just like, here's a guy who greatly exaggerated his impact and is a fascinating character to watch for how interesting he was naturally. But I absolutely believe that once he was caught by the government and was slated to be extradited to the United States of America, I don't even think he was depressed. I think that he just wanted to kill himself in one final big hurrah, I guess. To basically just say like, oh yeah, no, I got murdered. Or he didn't actually die. I don't know how you could fake your own death though, because this heart attack thing you could get away with in Guatemala maybe, but to be fair, after Epstein, it's really hard to think he killed himself. No, it's not, dude. Unless you're a fucking dumbass, okay? And let me tell you why. Because it's the top of the hour, and you're not even aware that a 60-second ad break is coming. But worry not, because you can avoid those ads by subscribing. Either with a Twitch Prime for free or with a $5 subscription. Or with a VPN or ad block. Okay? But the ad break comes for all. That was a great transition again. Fuck, I'm so good at these segues. Anyway, look. Jeffrey Epstein was involved with like every fucking world leader and billionaire, even after he got a slap on the wrist sentence for sex trafficking on American soil. Okay? The guy who gave him that sweetheart deal then went on to work in the Trump administration. If you think that Jeffrey Epstein was not or did not have like incredibly compromising information on top level U.S. officials, members of the fucking royal family, and like the likelihood that he could have been fucking murdered, especially considering the incredibly suspicious circumstances of his death, you're ridiculous. If you think that McAfee had anything, like John McAfee had anything remotely close to what Jeffrey Epstein had as far as like literal personal information, you are out of your fucking mind, dude. John McAfee was a delusional libertarian degenerate who loved to troll and loved the memes, and he's a fascinating character to watch. But if you think that he was like in any way a serious person in the same way that Jeffrey Epstein was, you are out of your fucking mind. You've been lost in the goddamn sauce. Okay? You've been lost in the fucking sauce, and you think like anytime someone dies in prison, you're like, oh, that's a murder. Like there has to be a reason. And a guy who was like caught for openly tax evading in America when you can just literally be rich enough to avoid taxes and offshore your earnings, like, which is super dumb and an extent that like libertarians will go to for some weird reason. Like if you think that happened, if you think that was like, why would they fucking murder? Who would murder John McAfee and for what reason? Like, you're delusional and probably a crypto bro. Let's be real. It's not hard to believe that he had access to a lot of incriminating information given his skills and connections in the InfoSec community. No, you're trying to do that so you can spin a narrative in your head that sounds cooler than like he just killed himself for fucking one last big troll. He just wanted to be remembered in like this crazy way. Instead of going away and rotting for the rest of his life in prison, because he was going to probably go to jail for 30 years. And he definitely would have died in prison at that point. If he didn't die, he would have been out in 30. He's already like 70 years old or however the fuck old he is. Like he was like, this is a much more poetic way to go out. Sorry. He was 76 years old? Yeah, it's crazy. You just want to think he got whacked. And if we're, entertaining fun conspiracies, that's one thing. If we're just like memeing, that's one thing. But if you genuinely think he was fucking whacked, you're delusional. I'm sorry. Okay? He wasn't in the sex trafficking business. He was just a pedosex tourist. Yeah. He wasn't sex trafficking beyond like his own wife / 17-year-old girlfriend. Anyway, the Belizean government finally got to him. Yeah. Guys, like literally everything, like every part of his life points to him just being like points to him trying to make himself out to be significantly more serious than he actually was. I don't know how you can't see this.
Saying
this is part 4 of the Britney saga, the Free Britney saga, but from what I understand, this is just about Stan content, isn't it? McAfee's last interview talks about who's trying to kill him. Tinfoil Hat podcast. Okay, dude. First of all, I'm not going to listen to Tinfoil Hat podcast. And secondly, yeah, he was fucking delusional. He thought everyone was out to get him. Did you not see how many times he like made it seem as though people were like trying to murder him? How many Latin American government officials do you want to hear from that is like, we don't have anything on this guy. I don't know why he thinks like we're, you know, I don't know why he's like evading authorities. He literally sought asylum when there was no warrant for his arrest. Like, if that doesn't fucking, if it's 55 minutes of album talk, I'm telling you, yeah, we are not watching that then. Can your mind handle a whole video of Britney Stan content? No, I can't do that. New Mad Orchard and Second Thought instead of Britney. There was the video that I wanted to actually watch. Hold on. Let me just look. What do you think of Snowden's take? I think Snowden is like, I don't know. He's getting a little weird lately. He had some takes that, yeah, I will get to the LSF drama that, I will get to the LSF drama in a little bit. Okay. I will. Chill. Jesus Christ. Have you seen Glenn Greenwald recently? The man's insane. No. I don't think Edward Snowden is going the way of Glenn Greenwald. But he, like, the stuff that he said about McAfee is just, like, surprising. Like, usually he vets the shit that he says, you know what I mean, before he says it. Oh, Paul Bernardo. I've actually heard about Paul Bernardo from a Canadian person. This was one of the most high-profile cases in Canada of all time, right? Him and his wife. And his wife actually got away. Kind of. The Invasion of the Normans, a Twitch story with 4,000 views, dude. Why are you fucking promoting your own video? I think Snowden is just really sensitive to the extradition topic given his circumstances. I have to pee so bad again. Holy shit, I've been drinking a lot. A lot. Yeah, Paul Bernardo's wife is actually out of prison now. The Tony Robbins video seems kind of good.
Clearly, there's no desire.
Hi guys, and welcome to a brand new video. Now I feel like getting all hyped up for this one. So what better way to get inspired as to achieve your...
I don't know. God damn it, I can't remember what the fuck. Lol at Islam, believing the media narrative? Yeah, dude. The media narrative is always wrong. You're correct. Some people are so fucking stupid. I'm sorry, dude. Like, I have to pee so bad, but I'm not gonna do that before I finish. Before I find what I wanted to watch. Stop linking me the interview with the cannibal. I'm not gonna do that. There's like there are people in this chat that have like their favorite videos, and if I don't watch their favorite videos, they will die. They will literally die. Like, I have to watch their favorite videos. So they will absolutely fucking keep spamming them until I inevitably watch their favorite video. And every time I'm like, I'm looking for a specific video, and they're like, oh, it's time to fucking link that same exact video, dude. You know? I mean, I want to watch the new Jubilee, who's not
Guys,
bisexual.
like hear that you're bi as a girl.
Yes.
And then, of course, it's like.
The bi visibility content. That video was not safe for stream, by the way. Oh, thank you.